Today I want to talk to you guys about when to crop out a bed and when to not crop out a bed. That's coming up next on The Urban Farmer. There's two main reasons why you would crop out a bed, and there's some reasons why you wouldn't crop out a bed. The two reasons you would crop out a bed is consistency of product. So in the case of greens, harvesting the entire bed at once means that when it grows back, it's all the same length. You have uniform length, whereas say we have 50-foot beds here, if I harvested half of it 1 week, and then the next week I harvest the other half, that half that I'm harvesting the next week is going to be longer than it was the previous week. So that creates an inconsistency in the product. The other reason is for being able to get an entire bed planted again. So in the case of say radishes or turnips, like what we're looking at here, I have a primary incentive. I would prefer, if I could, when that bed is ready, harvest it all out at once so that I can turn it over and plant something else out immediately. But sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes you can't do that, especially on the shoulder season like right now, where you know, a bed, so this is all radish and turnips, and you know, most of them are ready, but there's still some that aren't. So right now I'm walking on a bed that I've harvested most of, and I went through today and thin harvested this. So probably by Monday or Tuesday I'll crop the rest out, and then at that point this whole bed can be turned over. Once I get into the main season, like in the summertime really, I'll plant radishes, and in 21 days they're all mature, and they'll all be mature at once. At least 90% of them. You know, I'm willing to forfeit the other 10% to just turn the bed over. It's worth it to me in that regard. And this is an important thing to understand about when to crop out and when to not, because looking at that, what is that 10% worth? Well, it's not much, right? It's if you're saying your net profit on a bed is say $300, just an arbitrary number, 10% of that is $30. So is it worth it to wait another week to plant that bed to wait for $30? No, it's not. And this is the key to profitable farming, especially in an urban context where I'm on a very limited land base. I need to be able to have these beds in production all the time, and I need to maximize the output of the farm because I don't have other places to plant. Once I get into mid-May on my farm, every single one of the beds on my farm, we have about 120 25-foot beds. So some of them are 50 feet, but just to put it all into 25-foot increments, we have about 120. So once I'm into mid-May, every bed has already been planted once. I have nowhere else to plant. So I have to make sure that I've got enough coming off the field where the beds are clear so that I can keep planting and keep succession planting. So that's really what it's about, is consistency of product. So in the case of greens, and I'll take you over to a bed here, but in the case of greens, I want to harvest a bed of greens so that I have consistency in product. So this means sometimes I might harvest a few more pounds than I need to sell. You know, that might go in the compost pile, I might give that away. It doesn't really matter. The net cost to it, it's better to crop out the entire bed and have a consistent regrowth. There's also, from a planning standpoint, that's also really good to look at a bed and say, okay, there's a full bed there. I can expect this much next week, instead of thinking, okay, I got half a bed of this, I got half a bed of that. That just makes things complicated. I want to simplify things when I'm looking at the farm. So here, all these greens that were just harvested this week, and some of them are already starting to grow back. But it's simple because now I know for next week, I've got 2 beds of lettuce, a bed of arugula, and a bed of red Russian kale that are going to be coming back for another cut. And so in my mind, that's just easy to quantify. It's easy to understand what I can expect going forward. And so when I'm communicating with chefs, or when I'm thinking about what I'm going to bring to the farmer's market, or perhaps if you're running a CSA, what you're going to put in that CSA, you can just think in unit sizes, and that just makes things simpler. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Please leave your questions and comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this, and like and share these videos with your friends. All right, we'll see you soon.